Allow me to adjust the screen, folks. Look, pause. And there's like a little rat down there. I know you can't see it, but I love this shirt. Just waving my nerd flag this morning, free and true. Alright, folks, welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I am your host, Tiffany Daniels, and a merry stupid o'clock in the morning to one and all. We're going back to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we do, because I keep getting dragged back into it, because turd stains apparently don't realize it's past their freaking bedtime, some of the usual disclaimers and a general rant. Also, this is towards the JD supporters community. I just want to draw something to your attention that, through no fault of your own, not saying, the rampant ableism that the supporters of AH has thrown at Johnny on a general daily basis. I'm not talking like the overall, like in regards to that idiotic TMZ video. I'm talking in general every single goddamn day. What am I talking about here? When I want you to call out when you see it. Well, let's start the whole limp dick thing. For fuck's sake. What are these people? 12? That is a medical condition. Falls under the umbrella of disability, which makes it ableist as fuck. Ableist as fuck. Okay? It's not just ageism, it's also ableism. When they talk about how he dresses, ableism. Let me explain that one because it might not make sense unless, well, you're neurodiverse. All of us, from ADHD all the way into autistics, even though it's not quite as well known for people with ADHD unless you take the time to talk to people outside of your ability. Yeah, sorry, I'm a wee bit salty this morning. Clothing has more to do with texture and feeling of security than it does with looks. Okay? Many of us, particularly those of us who went through abuse in childhood, wear layers. We wear multiple layers. And why do we do this? Is it a fashion statement? This is just coming from me personally. I could give two shits about fashion. Okay? I have never cared, not one iota, not even a little bit, about fashion. Drew, my aunt, made her completely batshit when I was a teenager and finishing high school. Made her nuts. Yeah, we don't care. Can I be blunt? We don't care. We are infinitely more interested in regards to how the texture feels and how we feel in it. In particular, when we layer like that, it's extra security, folks. It also provides that sensory little bit of extra pressure, which helps with endorphins, which gives us a general better sense of well-being. We don't care if it's age appropriate or not. I am literally wearing a shirt that says pause with a cat on it on a mouse. Do you think I give a shit about what is age appropriate? No, I don't. He doesn't. A good majority of us don't. Every time I see a commenting on how he's dressed, I want to come through the screen and just put the stupid stamp on the person. Repeatedly, if need be. It's about comfort. It's about security. It's about how certain textures can maybe even help to elevate mood. It's sensory, folks. It's all about the sensory. It is very rare when we will take in note and in mind if we need to be appropriately dressed for a particular occasion. So that's one of the ableist things I've seen out there. It's not just ageism, by the way, to attack his physical appearance. It's also ableism. Some of the slurs that have been used when they are referring to his current appearance are the same slurs that have been thrown at disabled people for fucking eons. Okay? Some of the shit they've been thrown at them have been thrown at my friends with CP or cerebral palsy out in public, no less. Multiple times. Okay? Stop it. And if you see anyone engaging in it from either side, call it out. All right? Okay. Now that I've got that rant over, because as I always say, a slight against one of us is a slight against us all, because it gives us a general viewpoint of how some of you folks who support AMPI, how you view all people with disabilities. Let's move on here. In the description box, you're going to see the link to the article that the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read. It is written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics, wherein they interviewed and surveyed over 900 ABA professionals from all over the world regards to the Judge Rotenberg Center's quote-unquote so-called behavioral modification program, or as I like to call it, batshit insanity. In fact, the JRC doesn't want you to read this article so much they have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they do not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic has refused to comply, so you know the drill, folks. Please read that article and share on all your social media. We also have linked in there NeuroClastic's public statement regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding, folks, in case the JRC actually has the balls to see through with their threat. We also got the pertinent links to the Agape boarding school situation. Agape boarding school is a Christian-themed boarding school based out of Stockton, Missouri that takes in so-called trouble male teens that has pending over 21 civil lawsuits and substantiated claims and allegations leveled against it that include multiple counts of sodomy, sexual assault and abuse of the children there, child abuse, psychological and emotional abuse, starvation, and yes, even child trafficking. And I'm pretty sure we're just going about just on the surface there. We have one former staff member that has been arrested by the FBI. Another, a doctor, still on the premises with full access to the kids there. Up on multiple substantiated claims by the investigations done by the Missouri Department of Social Services, multiple counts of sodomy and sexual assault and rape against the boys that are there at that school. We have an attorney general too busy running for Senate and kissing Trump's ass and regurgitating mega points like that's somehow going to make him be able to survive Washington to actually do his current job, and has a tendency to lose court cases all the goddamn always. Don't even get me started on the governor of our state. We're run by the circus, folks. We're run by the goddamn circus. Somebody's sending the goddamn clowns, all right? So please share those articles on all your social media. Don't forget to sign and share the change.org Shut Agape Boarding School Down petition. We also got the other pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign, including Hoya's massive archive on the subject, or as I like to call it, over 40 years of receipts. We also have linked in there Jennifer Masumba's behavioral sheet. If you click on that, you will show the lie to Matthew Israel and the rest of JRC's words. They do not shock on just extreme, aggressive, or self-injurious behavior. They will literally shock you if you dare to roll your eyes. And it's not a bee sting, folks. It is literally 3 times more powerful than a police taser, which is known to cause heart trouble and death in full-grown fucking ass men. And that's just on the lowest setting. On the highest setting, the GED is literally at 45 milliamps. That's almost triple your general police taser. And let's see here. We've also got a link to the Andre McCollins video, a short clip of that's a part of a longer 7-hour surveillance video where he was prone on a 4-point board and shocked over 31 times face down with a helmet on for the simple crime of refusing to remove his coat. We got the templates and the ever-present self-explanatory change.org shut the Judge Rotenberg Center down petition. When we discuss the JRC, folks, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones. We are also, trigger warning, reading Matthew Israel's own words. You're going to hear ableism, victim blaming, gaslighting, and just out-and-out pseudoscience bullshit. You're going to get angry. Just trigger warning on that, all right? Also, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity and we talk about dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this channel, parental supervision is advised. It is 5:10 a.m. in the morning, folks. I am not here, not even a little bit. I gotta drink my, sinus medicine here in tea form, and then I gotta get my second dose of caffeine so I can form a coherent thought. So if I stumble over my words, apologies in advance, all right? All right. Let's get to where we were yesterday. Excuse me. MDRI's investigation, really, consisted largely of the following: finding and using unverified negative accusations available on the internet, taking selective quotations from the JRC website given by parents and students in support of the JRC's use of aversives, and fraudulently revising those portions to make up or false misleading statements designed to make the authors appear to be negative towards JRC's treatment. Okay. I know I haven't finished the sentence, but God, you're so full of shit. Matthew Israel, ladies and gentlemen, shocker, is lying. The statements taken from JRC's own website are not used in any way to paint the parents that are speaking in positive support to look like they hate the place. In fact, there are disclaimers in that MDRI letter that will tell you these parents are in support, but this is their very words, and we think it's bad shit insane. So Matthew Israel, doctor, and I use that term loosely here, that is a lie. The MDRI report is made up of those statements. It's made up by your words, doctor. Your words. Not ours, yours. It is made up from surveillance video footage. You gonna tell me how we're gonna falsify that, doctor? Yeah, we're talking early 2000s, folks. If you wanted to edit a video, you better have a fucking college degree. Because we're talking early, okay? It's based on the court papers, on the 6 deaths of the students that you caused, doctor. It is based on the parents that have spoken against you that they have interviewed. Many of them not wishing to be named because they know that you will target them and put a lawsuit against their asses. Not all of us are fucking millionaires, okay? Some of us live paycheck to paycheck. Just saying. Those reports are also made up of DESI reports. Exact wording, doctor. It's not misrepresented when it's quoted word for word. Let me say that for the idiots in the back who don't understand this lie for what it is. What they used is used word for word. It is not misconstrued. It is not redefined. It is not in any way taken out of context. It is a full quote. They used independent investigations from individuals who do not have any affiliation or loyalty to JRC whatsoever, such as the New York report. Other investigations coming from that lawsuit in 1986 that gave you your fucking God complex. You see where I'm going here, right? Matthew Israel is lying to you. How is it misleading, doctor, when they're your own words? Explain that shit. Also, why should I trust you, doctor, when in this very year you put out this stupid report here, you were caught ordering the destruction of evidence in a current case at the time. In fact, the only reason why it was settled out of court was because you agreed to step down. They should have pushed it and closed the place down, but hindsight and all that, right? So forgive me, doctor, if you're not the most trustworthy source on the planet. Okay, let's read more of this garbage here. Soliciting information from an individual who, according to August 29, 2007 police report, claimed to have a whistleblower inside JRC. Soliciting as many negative quotes as possible from persons who were opposed to JRC, accepting and publishing anonymous accusations without researching whether there was any truth to them. Do you not understand how the term whistleblowing works, doctor? If you got multiple accusations and these people who are coming forward sound similar enough to those who have come forward and whose claims have been since then substantiated by a court of law. When these individual accusations have been substantiated by the New York report, an independent body outside of the JRC who doesn't owe shit to anyone, you're acting like there's no corroboration. These accusations are just coming out of nowhere just to target the poor JRC. It's garbage. It's corroborated by DESI reports. It's corroborated by court case after court case after court case. It is corroborated by the New York Department of Special Education. It's corroborated by your own goddamn video surveillance footage. But they're out of nowhere, right? Taking selective quotations and reports by a state agency that has philosophical opposition to aversives. Here we go again. This is their talk about New York. It's philosophical. Our opposition is philosophical. Do you know what philosophy means, doctor? Jesus Christ. No, we have a visceral opposition to aversives. We do not think that people with disabilities and mental health issues should be fucking punished for how we are born. We do not think we should be punished for behaviors that are beyond our control. We do not feel like we should be punished for your failures as a doctor, as an educator, as a general fucking human being. Okay? That's not philosophical. It's common sense and logic. Two things I know you don't operate in, Doctor, because you wanted to use us to create a fucking utopia off our backs by torture, starvation, and brainwashing. Tell me how that's going. Philosophical. And that is currently being sued by JRC parents in the Federal District Court of Northeast New York. Can I tell you how that court case went? It didn't. It didn't. By the way, may I remind you, not every parent in the world has their kids' best intentions at heart. I hate to bust your bubble. But ever hear of abusive parents? Ever hear about parents that are more concerned with stopping their kids from embarrassing them than they are about actually helping their kids? I've worked in the field, folks, and I've fucking seen it all. I've seen some horrific shit. Matter of fact, this one haunts me to this day. I had someone who was diagnosed autistic, whose dad believed he wanted to just beat the autism out of him. And this mother and kid were desperate, fucking desperate for services. Anything. At the time, he was considered too high functioning for services. I dug and dug, folks. I focused on that kid and nothing else for 2 days. I reached out to every group I possibly could and finally found that I would be able to get them services through Medicaid by means of the, oh my gosh, I can't even think of the name right now. Southwest Center for Independent Living. That's what it was called back then. I called that kid's mother. The kid had been beaten extremely badly by the father. And due to having no hope, strung himself up from his ceiling fan and hung himself. Not every parent, I'll say that mother did, but not every parent has their kid's best interest at heart. Spare me, doctor. There's also those that I call true believers, and because places like this, they are cult-like. They are very much cult-like, with maybe not necessarily the religious underpinnings, but if you ever gone digging into the rat hole, no offense to rats, that is pseudoscience and their centers, those true believers, it wouldn't matter if I showed them that ordeal with Andre McCollins, because they all watched it and they still blamed him. You can present physical evidence that they can see with their own eyes, and they're still going to believe what the JRC tells them. Some people are susceptible to cult mentality. These parents want to believe so much that their kids can be cured and be made neurotypical, that any evidence JRC provides them that, look, see, their behaviors are gone, they don't care how it's done. They only care whatever JRC tells them to. I've seen these parents, folks. I've worked with some of them. God help me. I had to help some kids get out of conservatorships to get away from such parents. Okay? Not the flex you think it is, doctor. Especially not somebody who's been in the damn field. Fucking spare me. Moving on. Without any reference to JRC's responses to those accusations. Yeah, I read your response. Please refrain from letting 10-year-olds write your defense. I was able to rip your response to shreds and I didn't even give a sweat to it. All of which are available at JRC's website and presenting as facts outdated, recast, and long since refuted accusations, some of which are now as much as 20 to 40 years old. Have they? Refuted? Is that a fact? Tell me, doctor. Why did you have to pay off the parents of Linda Cornelison? Why did you have to pay off the families of the two boys that you allowed to be shocked over 71 times each? Why did you pay Cheryl McCollins a settlement? Because that's not refuting anything. Okay? A settlement does not equal refuted. Let me say that for the idiots in the back. A settlement does not equal refuted. By the way, your so-called refuted is the biggest bunch of garbage I have ever read in my life. And I've seen some bad shit. I've seen the nonsensical writings of people who support AH, and your response to the 2006 New York report, it's beyond laughable. I don't know what that shit was, but it sure as hell wasn't an argument. It had no cohesive logic, no backup. But we've been corroborated by your own commissions. You have not been corroborated by outside organizations. The outside organizations' papers that you use to corroborate your insanity are, as you would say, 30 to 40 years old. They don't work in the modern world no more. The fact that you used your 2006 response to the New York report as a means of saying, we've already ended the argument. These are real facts. The fuck are you on? Can I have some? Because that must be some good shit. That must be some kind of miraculous drugs, man. That must be some top-notch good $1 million shit. If you're going to come and tell me that 2006 response that we just went over settled all arguments. No, it didn't. I ripped it into millions of little shreds and I didn't even break a sweat to do it. Good God. All right, so what are we seeing here? Stupidity. Horrific stupidity. The kind of stupidity that has led to kids being tortured and killed for over 40 years. We have a doctor who has drank his own Kool-Aid. Let's give you background on the doctor who's speaking through this paper, shall we? You'll see it linked in on the JRC history page that we've got for you in the description box. This is an individual who moved from Harvard to one of the hippie compounds. One of the people there had a daughter who was disabled. He would then proceed to pinch or hit her with a spatula to stop behaviors. And what happens when you abuse a child? The behavior stopped. And he's like, oh my God. If I do this to disabled kids, I can mind control them into becoming the type of people I think we should have in society. So this is the start of our insanity. One dude getting high off of child abuse and then spreading that abuse to all disabled kids. And why does he pick disabled kids? Because society as a whole are less likely to hold someone to an account if the abuse is being done and called treatment and it's being done to disabled people. You wanted to keep a utopia off our backs by brainwashing us, starving us, and torturing us. Didn't work, did it, doctor? This is the kind of mentality. This is the kind of mindset. This is the kind of pseudoscience nonsense that we're dealing with here. Okay? Not exactly the kind of person that, were I to have a child, I would sign my kid over to. Okay? So just keep that in mind as we continue to go through this enormous, insane document. I'm going to close out on that. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So folks, please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. And doctor, if you happen to watch this, if they were refuted and we're just not listening to the facts, why were you kicked out of California? Why were you kicked out of Rhode Island? Why are you no longer seated as the head of the JRC anymore? Because I have receipts. I argue with receipts, not lies, not pseudoscience. I do appreciate everyone's time, and as always, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye, everyone.